right, we are live. What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Random Encounter Podcast. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by Phaneckswhy
What's up? What's up?
and Ash Destroyum.
Hey, what everybody? How y'all doing?
I almost said Bryant, and I forgot he's not here. Give me a minute. I gotta set up these scenes because these scenes are not accurate at all. I don't even know why. I don't even know. Oh, I'm not in the correct scene. That's probably why. On vertical. Yeah, we got not a lot to say today. I would say there it was kind of like a dead week. Not that much news. There's some decent news to talk about. Not a lot. But before we get into that, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And also follow on Twitch. We do simultaneously stream on both YouTube and Twitch. On YouTube, there's two streams. We have a vertical stream and a horizontal stream. And then on Twitch, of course, there's only one stream because you can only do it one way on Twitch. So before we get started in our topics today, let's go ahead and talk about what we've been playing. I'm gonna start with you, Ash. What have you been playing?
I recently picked up Mario Luigi Brothership yesterday, and I've been playing a good amount of that game. And it's pretty much true to its original roots for a Mario Luigi game. Art style definitely translated well from sprite to 3D, really well as well. Music is great. Everything is so whimsical. Everything is so great. It's just you'll definitely love the game when you first pick it up. Um, Now I can't recall what was being said in the infamous IGN review about Brothership, but one of those things was probably talking about how the Luigi logic kind of like handholds you, which kind of have to disagree with that mainly because yeah, of course Luigi's going to tell you, hey, he's going to be doing this, but that doesn't give you the whole answer to the puzzle that you're trying to solve, right? So going throughout the game for like the first 3 to 4 hours doesn't really seem like they're going to be super handholdy, mainly because literally you're in the first tutorial island that you go to from Brothership, and they're pretty much showing you like the ropes on like how you do this and how you do that, like any other Mario and Luigi game. So once you're done with that, then from there you're pretty much on your own from that point. And even so, there's still guides within the game that can help you out as you traverse through the game itself. So my only gripes with it is probably the loading times because as a veteran I'm used to really fast transitions because going from in the hub world to battle mode or uh teleporting to another part of the game as well. And the thing was is that when it was on the Game Boy and the DS, um I, I'm not too sure how the architecture works, but straight up, they have ways to like pretty much load everything onto memory first, and then because of that, you're able to go to like one level to another really quickly and stuff. This is not like the case for this particular game because everything's like fully 3D, and due to that limitation, the loading speeds are not as fast as you anticipated. They're still decent loading speeds, just as not as fast as I'm used to from previous games. But other than that, I'm pretty much golden with this game. I'm loving it so far. So
Yeah, I think when it comes to like just Nintendo Switch in general, like Switch loading times is something that's super noticeable. I've noticed that in Nintendo Switch games that I pick up. Some of them not that bad. Like Unicorn Overlord is actually not that bad in terms of loading times. But other games I've noticed, like man, like this takes forever just to load up. And once you get used to like PS5 load times or even like modern PC load times, they're just so much quicker than the
oh yeah,
Nintendo Switch. That it's like you don't like it no more. So hopefully the Switch 2 is a lot quicker
yeah.
overall in terms of load times. Before I get to fan, I just want to apologize for anybody watching the vertical stream. I was messing with it, trying to make it look as good as possible, and I'm gonna continue messing with it for a little bit more because I'm trying to just make it look, pretty clean. Unfortunately, with the way the vertical stream works, I cannot like preview a scene before I go live. So there's no way for me to do that. I have to do that in real time, which I don't really like. But either way, it's the only way for me to do that. And yeah, I just gotta kind of deal with it and fix it, unfortunately. But yeah, fan, what about you? What have you been playing?
Um, I mean, other than the Mario Party Jamboree with the group stream we did, I've just been continuing my playthrough of Samus Returns on Citra. I'm an RG ally.
And where are you at on there?
Let's see. I'm at a spot where I just got the ice
Mm-hmm.
beam, and I just defeated my second Metroid for the DNA. So I'm looking for 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm at a level where I need 4
Okay.
to unlock the next spot, which I think I might have skipped an area because the first one was 1, and then now I need 4. So I'm like, I think I might have just, I don't know, but I'm just playing it. I'll go about it wherever it takes me.
Yeah. No, Samus Returns is really good. I'll never forget the moment of I beat that game, because when I beat it, I was like, man, I really wish there was a new Metroid game. And then sure enough, about 2 weeks later, they announced Metroid Dread, and I was super excited about that. Oh man, like to me, it just surprised me. Since then, a lot of games that I went back to and either started playing or beating, they got announced. Like Super Mario RPG is another one where I started playing that, and then next thing you know, it gets announced with a remake. Mario, no, which one was it? There was another game recently that they got a remake. Donkey Kong Country Returns. Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
I was playing
Mhm.
that through emulation, and then that gets announced as a remake. Not a remake, I'm sorry, but a remaster coming.
Remaster. Yeah.
But there was another game. Why can't I think about it? There was another game they got announced, and I was Paper Mario,
Check.
and a
Okay.
Oh
Thousand
yeah,
Year Doors.
that
Yeah,
was your door. Yeah, that was your
yep.
door.
That was the other one that I started to play, and then again, a little bit like a week later, they announced the remake to that. So yeah, Samus Returns is one of those that I feel should get a remake. It should definitely get a remake. I think on the Nintendo Switch, it didn't sell too well, but I'm pretty sure it didn't sell well because the Nintendo Switch was already out. Another game that came out around that time too was like Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem Echoes, which was another game. Shadows of Valentia, that didn't sell too well as well, but same reason. I feel like because the Switch was already out, that's why it didn't sell. As for me, I've been pretty much playing my Retroid Pocket Mini because I have a review of that coming up this week, and I've been trying to get like all the gist of it. And I say playing, but a lot of that was more tinkering because I'm still having issues with certain things. Everything works perfect, like it emulates perfect and stuff like that. But it's more like the little things like emulation station working with, let's say Dolphin for example. If I try to go ahead and go and boot up something on through emulation station that works through Dolphin, it doesn't want to boot, and I'm not exactly sure why. I can't even download a newer version of Dolphin. It just won't install. I assume it's because it's Android 10 and not like Android 13 or above, but I have no clue why that's doing that. But yeah, pretty much been playing my Retroid Pocket. Donkey Kong Country 2 is one game I've been playing. Legacy of Goku 2. I was just playing that and revisiting that. I love that. I love how they use the Bruce Falconer tracks for that game.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
just
agree.
yeah, it's just so cool. And hearing them in like the GBA like tune like style, I really like how they did that. It's pretty cool. It sounds really good. Some of them are slightly remixed, and I do like it. Like I kind of wonder if Bruce Falconer or the Bruce Falconer team rather, because it's not just one person. It's actually a bunch of people. If they went ahead and did the GBA soundtrack, or did they just go ahead and get the soundtrack from the anime and just make them GBA compatible? Like I'm really curious on the whole story of Legacy of Goku 2 and how they did that soundtrack. But was playing that Capcom versus SNK 2. I've been playing that still. Can't wait for the official versions to release next year. I will continue to play those when they officially come out and play those online as well. And what else? Fire Emblem Radiant, Path of Radiance. Sorry, restarted that as well and was playing that because I do want to rebeat that, and I actually held off on continuing on my Steam Deck because I wanted to play it on my Retroid Pocket Mini. So, yeah, those are pretty much the things that I've been playing in terms of this week. Again, the majority of the time is just tinkering with the Mini. So, yeah, stay tuned for my review going up hopefully by Thursday, if not Friday. It really depends on how things go this week. So let's go ahead and start talking about our small, I say small news, but honestly, like everything today is going to be small news because, like I said, there was not that much in terms of bigger news out there. We're going to start off with something that was rumored and kind of like semi confirmed for the longest, but now it's officially confirmed. The CEO of Nintendo, through a tweet, has officially confirmed that the Nintendo Switch will be backwards compatible. Again, there were little hints going on here and there about the Nintendo Switch. I said Nintendo Switch, I'm sorry. Nintendo Switch 2 or new Nintendo Switch, whatever you want to call it. It is officially going to be backwards compatible. There were hints talking about it. A lot of people have speculated. There were rumors that it was going to be. Now it's officially confirmed. It is backwards compatible. It's funny because after it was stated that it was backwards compatible, then you had other people going out and making comments like, okay, well, what does backwards compatible mean? Is it only digital? Does that mean that our cartridges are not going to work? I mean, honestly, I don't know why they would say that. To me, backwards compatible is backwards compatible. It means full compatibility, whether it's cartridge or digital. You can't just say backwards compatible and then say, oh yeah, we only meant digital purchases and not physical games. But to me, it sounds like it's both digital and physical. So I'm excited about that. How about you guys?
Well, it was to be expected that they're gonna have backwards compatibility to begin with. I feel
Mhm.
so. Yeah, it's just I'm not as stoked because I was expecting backwards compatibility for like Switch titles and stuff, which makes
Yeah.
sense, right? Now I'll be more stoked if they further expand that backwards compatibility to other stuff, for example, I'm still on that high when somebody made like a fan design of the Nintendo Switch having dual screens, so that way you can play your 3DS and DS games
Yeah.
on it for backwards compatibility. But I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that's not going to
I
be
don't know. I
possible.
think Fan has the prototype of
Yep, he
the
does on the
Switch 2
prototype. Hey,
with the
listen,
dual
if
screen.
fan can get it to work with just some stuff he bought from Amazon, I mean, come on, Amazon, Amazon, come on, Nintendo, come on, you come on,
They could
it's
do it.
the blueprint's there,
They could
but
do it.
it is what it is. I ain't trying to put too much hope into that, if anything. But yeah, it would be great if they can further expand the backwards compatibility, because the whole thing being backwards compatible to Switch games, that's a given. I'm expecting them to do that in the first place. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's nice to know that that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
hmm Yeah, it's nice to have that official confirmation for people who were worried that that wasn't going to be a thing, but it is. It is a thing, and it's officially confirmed. What about you, Fan? Are you excited? Do you have a lot of physical games, or are you mainly digital?
Dude, I've got a ton. I mean, I'm not like a huge collector, but I've got, I'd say a decent amount
Oh wow, yeah.
of physical.
You definitely got a
I mean,
good amount.
yeah, I gotta, and if I can buy physical, I will, just because I'm always scared about, when it's digital, they could always remove it, because that's, the fear.
Yeah, all
Because
those.
they've said in can't remember who it was, but someone said per California law, digital purchases are no longer ownership. It's now like a lease. That
Yeah.
they're you have the right to lease the product or software, and it can be changed, it can be removed, and that's always scary. So that's since the Switch has the physical, I'm like, if I can buy physical, I'm gonna get the physical as best as much as possible. That's why I'm with the Dragon Quest 3, that 2D HD. I'm so torn, because I'd want a physical, but then if I get it on my Steam Deck on Steam, I can play it on a higher refresh rate screen, and it's just
Yeah.
it's one of those what
do
I want to do?
I definitely do see the dilemma. I do definitely do see the dilemma. It makes sense, So
Yeah, I'm
you know.
debating as well. I've held out my purchase for Dragon Quest 3 because I'm hoping that I get a review code. I signed up for it. Let's hope so. I got Final Fantasy 16, so I hope I get this. And I think what will help me out is I made Dragon Quest videos already before. We've done a Dragon Quest dedicated podcast, so hopefully they look through my history and see that I am a huge Dragon Quest fan, and I would love to do that because if I do get that, I will be actually streaming that on Thursday regardless because we did move the group stream to Tuesday and I didn't even think about it. But I was like, oh shoot, Dragon Quest 3 comes out on Thursday. But the dilemma for me too is also I do want it physical. So if I do get Dragon Quest 3, the review code on PC, then I will pick up a copy on Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that's my train of thought. We'll see what happens here this week.
That'll be the few times I'll actually double dip on the game.
Yeah,
Get the superior version on the PC, and then get a physical one for the Switch for
I
for
agree with you.
safekeeping. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that as well. I don't mind double dipping, especially when it comes to Dragon Quest. Like I don't mind. But yeah, I'm excited. It officially confirmed, and unfortunately, some people, you can literally tell them that the sky is blue, and they can look up at the sky and they'll still question what color the sky is, regardless. And where I'm getting with that analogy is, they officially confirmed backwards compatibility, and people are still questioning what backwards compatibility means. But most of this news today, or this for today's podcast, is literally Nintendo based, because I feel like Nintendo was the only person doing things this week. Now there was also the PS5 Pro. I did forget to mention, we are not going to discuss the PS5 Pro because none of us here has one. The only person that does is Bryant, but he is not here with us today. He should be with us next week for next week's podcast, and we'll be able to hear his thoughts on the PS5 Pro and what he thinks about that. So yeah, next bit of Nintendo news here is that there will be a Nintendo Direct centered around Super Nintendo World and the Donkey Kong World, or Donkey Kong Country rather, area that they're bringing to both Japan, and I believe, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's also going to be debuting at Orlando as well. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
they
thought,
already had some like sneak peek video stuff out already for it.
yeah, I did see like the one of where they're showing like the minecart ride and stuff like that, which seems pretty cool how they did that. And it's kind of cool that we had to wait an extra year, or no, 2 years, right? A year or two, something like that. We had to wait an extra couple years, but we also get an extra ride. So I don't mind that. Are you guys excited to go to Super Nintendo World? Is everybody going day one, or are you gonna wait a little bit till it dies down and then go and visit?
Where's the ad again?
Orlando.
Oh,
Universal Studios.
When's it coming?
May 2025.
Yeah.
I thought it already came, like, I guess, to the other one in California or
That's
something
in
like
California. Yeah.
Yeah, that's in California.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, this one's bigger because like this one is Epic Universe.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have like the core is gonna be a main, like a hub world essentially, and then you have 5 different other worlds you can get transported into. So Super Nintendo World is one world you can transport into. Another one is they're expanding on Harry Potter, so Wizarding World. They're doing Dark Universe, so like the monsters like Dracula, Mummy, Werewolf. And then they also have How to Train Your Dragon. So I think it's just 4.
No, I think there is a 5th one. I
think there's a 5th one. I can't remember what the 5th one is.
Yeah. I can't remember what the 5th one is.
I'm excited for it. It's just I honestly I'm afraid to go first day, to be honest. Because it's just gonna be so packed and that it's not gonna be the best experience.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. Yeah, same thing like when Star Wars opened up at Disney. I still haven't gone. But when Star Wars opened up in Disney, it was the same thing. I was like, you know what, I'll wait. And even till today, it's still crazy to try to get there. But Super Nintendo World is something I'm super excited about, and I do want to eventually go. I don't think I'm gonna go right away because, like you said, it's gonna be super packed and probably not safe at that because people don't have patience. So they might be running or pushing just to get to places, and
yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. So I'm gonna I'll be chill about it. I'll hold off. I'll wait. My wife's an annual pass holder, so we're gonna see what they're gonna. I used to be an annual pass holder, but I didn't renew it this year. But we're going to wait and see what they're gonna do with the annual pass, because depending on how that goes, I might just renew and add me back on there.
Gotcha. What about you, Ash?
I'm gonna wait off too. Honestly, for any grand opening, it's probably gonna be the worst experience because there's so many people that are gonna be over there. So I'd rather just wait it out until it's let the part let that part marinate a bit, maybe like a good 3 to 4 months, and then I'll come in or something like that. So I'd rather do that. Honestly, I mean, I would go there day one, but because of the people over there, I don't want to go there day one. So
I hear you. I hear when it comes to that. Let's hope maybe Nintendo can hear us out and give us each a day pass to preview it before it goes crazy. That's the dream. Then we could
Pretty
report
much.
back on it on the podcast. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Um, the Pokemon Company is going after Palworld finally. So finally, they did set up that lawsuit with Palworld, and Palworld has responded and kind of like given like open like documentation discussing what everything's about. And it looks like what they're going after is patenting stuff, and the biggest patent it seems that they have is the ability to catch monsters by throwing something at it. And that's a weird patent. And I guess what they're requesting is, I think it's like 30. Was it? Is it 30,000 only?
I think it was like 3 million to 5 million yen or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and that translates to something that's like really low in US dollars and stuff.
yeah.
Because
And I believe it translates to like $30,000, which is not a lot, especially when
not a
you
lot, definitely not a lot.
compare like Nintendo going after the other Bowser guy. I forgot what his name was. Not Doug Bowser, because
they got him for like millions.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of weird that they're only going for that low of amount of dollars. Like, are they short 30,000? Is that what it is? And they just want to come up with that sum, or what? But it was
I mean, it might be like because like maybe the core capturing in regard to that game, like percentage of like how much you do in terms of like doing the catching, it's just a small piece of the game.
Yeah.
Because they have the weapons, the guns, the crafting, the forbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the battle, but the battling is different. It's just the catching aspect is the only thing that's the same. So maybe like how much of that being part of the actual core play of the game is minimal compared to everything else.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. Is like percentage wise, or like like maybe only like 5% of the game is catching monsters. Like you catch them, yes, and raise them, but you do all this other extra.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of weird too, because that's really, it seems to be the only thing they're going after them about. They're not going after them about the likeness of these pals, because the pals look literally. There's the main guy that's on the cover looks like Electabuzz. You have a Electabuzz. You have an Eevee type. There's a Lucario look-alike. They look like very, very similar. Too similar, in my opinion. Like, if I were to go after Palworld, it would be because of the similarities of what these pals look like when you compare them to Pokemon. Like, I think that's more of, a way to go at them versus just a capturing mechanic, which is awkward.
I think the likeness problem, they're less likely to win in a court of law for that, because then that's still subjective. They're still changing the characters enough to where it's their own creation. Yeah. So it's the same thing with artwork. Right? Like, if you make enough changes to a piece of artwork, you're transforming it. So now it becomes a transformative piece of work, and it's no longer considered a likeness. Now the Pokemon can be used as, hey, we use this as inspiration, and this is how we came up with it. So they can't really sue them for that, because there's enough changes to where it's now considered a transformative piece of work and not a complete ripoff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they will have to literally copy and paste the entire design of any of those Pokemon for that to even stick in the first place.
Yeah, they'd have to like do a discovery on like how'd you design these these pals, right? And the thought process and stuff like that. And they probably did do that. They probably asked for discovery, and like they had enough to where like, all right, we can't go after them for this, but we can go after them for the catching mechanics.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. I can see that. But yeah, what else do you guys think about the Palworld, or Palworld versus Pokemon Company thing? Do you feel that Pokemon's in their right to go ahead and do that? Or you think they're kind of over exaggerating about the whole situation?
Okay, so I think with the strategy they're trying to play here, and the reason why they're being so safe with this, because I think they're trying to set a precedent on this, similar to which this is a totally separate case, but the whole thing with Bleem back then when it comes to the emulation stuff, because Sony couldn't win against Bleem on copyright infringement and stuff. That pretty much set the precedent for for emulations to flourish from that time till now, right? Now, for this case here, their main mission was pretty much to see if the lawsuit will work if they use patents against something, and if they win that means that they can do this more to other possible studios as well with the same patent logics as well, if anything. Which is why they probably went for a low amount this time around, mainly because they want to test the water to see what will work in a court of law and go with that for the rest of the other cases and stuff. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see that. What about you, Fan?
I mean, I'm concerned a little bit of what's gonna happen if they win, right? Because there's other games that do the whole catching mechanic too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's-
Pokemon
yeah.
wasn't the first. Pokemon wasn't the first game to do that.
definitely
Dragon Quest Monsters, like way back, did it before Pokemon, I believe.
Yep.
Where you throw something to capture a monster.
Yeah. Which further proves my point on the whole sitting president type of thing, because
Yeah,
not only Nintendo can do it,
like
Square Enix can also do it, and not only Square Enix can do it, name any AAA gaming studio can also do that same thing as well. Which that could be a problem. That could be a massive.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you. Like there's a extent to like where I feel there's a fine line of why you should go after somebody over copy and pasting work versus not. Like I don't feel like it's a direct copy and paste. Well, I do feel like it's very similar, and definitely it's in the Pokemon company's right to do so. I don't think they should have because of that, right? It's a really fine line. Like you got Nintendo, for example, they're starting to patent mechanics to a game. And it's kind of scary because then let's say if they just were to patent the ability to go ahead and walk, then what? You can't make a game where your character walks no more. Now your character would have to run. I think there was one of them where they basically patented the
mounting on the animal, mounting on the Pokemon thing, because literally World of Warcraft already did that way before Pokemon ever did that to begin with. So I'm just
there was another one. It was from Tears of the Kingdom. The ability, what do you call it? The one where you go up.
Descend.
Ascend ability. Yeah, they patented that, so like nobody could use anything that's similar to that. Which it's a unique ability to begin with, but still, it's kind of like why.
It literally stifles creativity and innovation. I don't listen. I get the whole patent thing and why the way it is, but there are certain things that shouldn't be patented in the first place.
Dude, that's just like when Apple patented the name App Store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like they patent a user interface.
Yeah, and then I think there's Sony recently. I think they patented the ability to make save states.
Yeah, that's
so that
crazy.
means like save states, for example, which Nintendo Switch Online uses.
Yeah.
That becomes illegal for Nintendo to use that because they just patented that ability. And there goes save states in any game because you have the Mega Man collection use the save states. Some other collections they use save states in those games. So yeah, I think there's a limit in terms of how much or how can I put it? Not how much, but like what you should do, because it's just weird in my opinion.
Like the extent or capability of like what they can patent.
Yeah, exactly. You should be able to like if it's something that can hinder just progress in general. I say no, like don't do that. If you patent like an OS, right? Why would you patent the ability to create an operating system? Because that means that at that point, nobody else can create an operating system because you have the patents of creating an operating system. And in gaming, a lot of gaming mechanics transfer over. People pick it up. If Zelda or if Nintendo would have patented the ability to use a joystick in Zelda, that's it. Like AAA gaming or any gaming as we know it would be gone because that's all we use. We use the thumbstick all the time for every single game. So
yeah.
I'm not a fan of that, and I believe go to your Dragon Quest Monsters comment. I believe with Dragon Quest Monsters you don't throw anything because I know in the recent one, it's after you beat a monster they just come to you and say hey they want to join your party. That's it. They'll talk to you, and that's usually how that was. Like Dragon Quest V was that way, which was the first monster catching game. Is you had a chance of after you beat a monster they would just appear and say they want to join your party, and then they're in your party. I don't know if any of the other ones had it, like Joker or any of the other ones, but I don't know, possibly. I'm not too sure when it comes to those because I haven't played those yet. But yeah, that's Palworld versus the Pokemon Company. But while we're on the topic of the Pokemon Company has announced a new Pokemon Works team, which according to everything it seems to be a collab with Ilka, even though the website reads Aruka. I'm assuming maybe it's like a mistranslation or something. They probably use like auto translation, and it went with Ilka. But yeah, either way, this has been rumored to be the collaboration that was in the leaks. It's supposed to be a Pokemon MMO. And it seems to be true because they said Pokemon Company and Ilka. The leaks specifically said there was going to be a Pokemon MMO. It was a collaboration between the Pokemon Company and Ilka, and it seems this is the case. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, if
I
any
mean,
game could translate into an MMO like playstyle,
Mm-hmm.
I think Pokemon would probably be the easiest way of doing it.
yeah. I
Because a
mean,
lot of it's just one click button, right? You hit one to do a move, you hit two to do another move.
Yeah.
You've got a cooldown. They can easily do the same things.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So it'd be easily transferable into an MMO.
As long as they don't screw it up, then that's fine by me. Like the thing is,
Yeah.
they already have so many blueprints that they can work off of to make a proper Pokemon MMO to begin with. Heck,
To make it. Well, I'm just saying to truly make it an MMO, they're gonna have to make certain Pokemon rare. Like there's only gonna be one of
Oh yeah, I
in
see
the
what you
whole
mean.
game,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
One
if you have a
new.
legendary, there's only gonna be one of that legendary.
That'd be hella
You
realistic.
can't have
but,
like everyone running around with Mewtwo's everywhere, you know?
Yeah,
There's only
yeah.
one
I mean,
Mewtwo.
that's realistic. That's realistic. I get you.
Like
but
if they're
I
gonna
feel
do
like
an MMO, they've got to have a couple Pokemon where there's like maybe just like a very limited number of them, just to like make it that much. Like,
they need to
more
at least
incentive.
if they're going like okay, here's the thing. If they're going to like do that, then they at least have to definitely separate the servers across the board, so that way there's always multiple versions of YouTube
Yeah, I get
Mewtwo's,
that.
and then you can, and then as a player, you can traverse to a different server and stuff, and still have all your Pokemon area and everything. And which that would definitely take a lot of a bit of power. But in my honest opinion, they already have a lot of good blueprints to go off of to make a good Pokemon MMO. Heck, we already have a fan made Pokemon MMO, which works perfectly fine. So, like, just don't screw it up. That's all I'm asking, And if anything, too, this is probably going to be good for the Switch too, as well, since it's rumored to be way more powerful than the original Switch. And yeah, that'd be a good time to test run it. So.
Yeah, I would love a Pokemon MMO. I remember, I think the Pokemon MMO you were talking about, I think it's called Poke MMO.
Yeah, that's what it's
And
called. Yeah.
if it's the same one that I remember I played a long time ago, it's you get to choose like kind of where you want to start.
Yeah.
You could choose like Kanto. I think at the time it was only Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn, and you could choose like those regions, and then yeah, in real time everybody's moving around. You'll get to a random battle, and then a small like mini screen will pop up, and it's just like normal Pokemon. And I can see that working, like especially like kind of like Fan said, if any franchise could make an MMO and succeed, for the most part at least, it's Pokemon. I think a lot of people have been saying, why don't you make a Pokemon MMO? And honestly, they could make a lot of money with that. They can easily make it a subscription service, and I'm sure a lot of people would subscribe to that just to play a Pokemon MMO. I mean, Temtem had a lot of people's itch of a Pokemon centered similar MMO. It's not really an MMO, but it is an online experience. And I thought the concept of it was pretty cool. It looked pretty neat. It's just, it wasn't catching my attention. But I would definitely play a Pokemon MMO. I think that would be pretty fun. Have gym leaders. If the players can be gym leaders, that would be cool. Like, imagine that. Like, you want to take over a town and you have to beat that person's gym leader. If you beat him, you
like the
become
the town could be like you can have guilds / gyms, right?
Yeah.
So like for someone to own a town, they would have to like do what's called a guild war, where like guilds would have to battle to have ownership of that territory, and then they can create like your guild master would basically be your gym leader.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Or make a Team Rocket. You can just, your guild can be Team Rocket. And you start actually stealing people's Pokemon.
Want, man.
Could you imagine that?
And like if they do the play style like similar to Arceus, where like you can kind of move around, but your Pokemon's there and you do commands while you walk around, versus like the traditional like turn-based see Pokemon to Pokemon viewpoint.
Yeah.
That would be the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like Arceus's battle style, and having that extra, what was it? Now I can't remember. Is it speed and attack? Like the differences?
Swift and strong.
Yes, having that
Swift style, strong style.
was amazing to that game. Oh man, like I don't know, Arceus did so good, and then to go back to Scarlet and Violet, I felt like it was going backwards for sure.
And they added the like the turns, like
Mhm.
kind of very similar to like other like JRPGs, like
Romancing Saga has it where you can see the
yeah,
order.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the order. You can see it in Final Fantasy X. You can see it in what's the freaking other game I'm thinking of? Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3. You can see the order of like when you attack and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think having all that would be cool. I mean, I'm down for this if they execute it right. I think
Oh,
it would
yeah.
be great. And Ilka, like a lot of people hate on Ilka. I think they did fine with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Again, I never played the original, so like this was my first experience with that, and I enjoyed it. Like I thought they did great. Ilka also did One Piece Odyssey, which I thought was pretty good. It was pretty well done. The battle mechanics were pretty interesting. They also worked on. There was another game. I can't remember. I think it was
Sandland.
Yeah, I think it was Sandland. I could be wrong. They did do Sandland.
Yeah,
They did. Okay.
they did it Sandland with Bandai Namco. It's that last thing that Toriyama did.
Yeah. So and then I think that's it. Let me see. I'm actually look them up right now and see if there's anything else that they worked on. Yeah,
I mean, if they do make a Pokemon MMO, basically everybody would be a what's the word? A rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Because rogues, like in traditional MMOs, can have a pet. It's pretty much what you'd be. Everyone would be a rogue.
Looks like they also worked on Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. Oh, it says they worked on Voice of Cards, which is interesting. Voice of Cards is pretty good. And here it says Code Vein as well.
Which studio?
Yeah, I don't know if this is accurate because they're also saying Dragon Quest 11. Ilka, yeah, because they're also saying Dragon Quest 11. I'm 100% sure they did not work on Dragon Quest 11. Yeah, I feel like
That's
this Wikipedia. Yeah, this Wikipedia.
Wikipedia,
is wrong. Yeah, but I can't
I
find
mean, it says
anything
they
that
worked
has.
as a support studio, so maybe they just did like R&D type stuff or beta testing or bug
Q&A
running,
stuff.
you know, like
Yeah.
quality of life stuff. Not developing the game, just like helping out running the supports for those studios making those games.
Okay.
Yep.
But the actual games they did make were
Oh
One
yeah, I
Piece
see.
Odyssey, Sandland.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Oh, Monster Hunter World Iceborne. It says on there as well. Yeah. Oh, I lied. So the director joined Ilka in 2020. Yeah, the director of Monster Hunter World Iceborne joined Ilka. Okay. Yeah, I see. I was looking at a different Wikipedia page. This one says the support studios. Yeah, were Yakuza 0, Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of the Hallucinate Age. So the original Dragon Quest 11, not S, but the non-S version. Nier Automata, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown, and Pokemon Home. And then the head later went to Ilka. And then, the games that they've actually worked on were Pokemon Home, the Idolmaster Starlit Season, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, One Piece Odyssey, Sandland, and another untitled Ace Combat game. And now we know another Pokemon game. I feel that, like, people didn't give Ilka a shot, and they were kind of upset at just the way Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl looked, which, again, I didn't mind. I get it. Like, when you compare it to something like Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, they had a really nice design. Yeah, I get it, but I thought it was still pretty good. And I think Ilka is still a pretty decent company. So we'll see what this collaboration comes with. I mean, I'm down to play Pokemon MMO. I'm pretty sure everybody here would probably play it if a legit version comes out. And yeah, well, that's wait to see. And this will probably definitely show off the Switch too, for sure.
Isn't like the Pokemon like regions like based on like real world regions, right? So that'd be interesting if like your server that you're in is the region that it's based in.
That'd be crazy because then for us it would
because Kanto's Japan, so they would have like that would be their region of their server.
Yeah, well they would have multiple because Kanto and Johto
like
would be.
But we would have the freaking Alolan region.
Well, Alolan would be like Hawaii. That means they would have their own region, but we'd have
that's America. That's American servers.
Yeah, well, I feel like the rest of us will have Unova because Unova is yeah, which is black and white. That's based off of New York.
Yeah.
So
And
that
then
would
what was it? Violet and Scarlet is
Spain
Spain, right? So
and then
EU could have like those because what was it?
Sword and Shield was
God,
also Europe or
yeah,
Europe, well, London. I'm sorry,
yeah, London, but the Gallo
or
whatever,
England.
yeah,
I'm sorry, England.
Galloan
Yeah.
region or whatever. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like European servers would have
Yeah.
like those regions, right?
I wonder, was Diamond and Pearl also based on Japan? I wonder. And Hoenn were the first like 4 or 5 based on Japan?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sinnoh sounds like a yeah. I think so. Yeah.
You would assume so because the way Legends Arceus
names,
portrayed, you
Yeah.
know, the
That's
the
true.
before.
Pretty much.
Hoenn, I know was supposed to be like based off the islands, like the tips of Japan where there's islands, um, which would also work. I mean, you could just divide that. That's an interesting thought that you divide each region by country, but then how
Based
would
on the
how would
servers.
you visit? Maybe if it's your starting region, that'd be good, and you can visit
Yeah,
those other.
that's what I'm saying.
regions.
Like that's where you like end up at.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to start in Unova. I mean, they have some decent Pokemon, but
I
you know,
just want to start Unova because
Hey, man,
honestly
maybe
they got
you
my
get
they got my favorite
you get
music.
a
they
passport.
do got the
you
best
know?
music. I do think. Yeah, Unova has some of the best music and some of the best, like graphically speaking. I think there's it's still one of the best looking games. For a DS game, it's really really good. The transitions,
Oh
how they
yes,
do the
yes.
3D environments in that game, like like right when you're on the bridge and it goes from being top down and the camera shifts and then now you're like in a almost 3D space. I think that's pretty cool. Like they did amazing work with Black and White. I still haven't played Black and White 2. I promised I was
Same
gonna
here, same
stream
here.
that, and I think that was like what 2 years ago when I beat Black and White on stream. So I definitely got to stream that at one point, eventually. I don't know when, but eventually I'll go ahead and do that. I think Black and White 2 is the only Pokemon I haven't beaten or played rather, because I haven't beaten Scarlet and Violet because I was just playing it recently and I keep getting destroyed by the Elite Four and I don't feel like grinding. So
Yeah, I may need to go back to at least beat Black and White again because it's been a while since I played that game. Like I remember when the game first got released, bought it same day and beating it within 3 days. That was the last time I played the game. So it's been a while.
well,
It's been a
I
good
bought
while.
Black and White. It's always a funny story that I bought Black and White and played on my DS, and then I'll never forget that. Went to work, I came back, and the next thing I noticed my DS was on but in sleep mode. I was like, why is my DS on in sleep mode? And then I opened it up and see that almost all my Pokemon are like fainted, like they're almost dead. I was like, what's going on? And then my wife goes and tells me, oh yeah, I was playing your game. I was like, oh man, almost all my Pokemon is fainted. Like, what were you doing? But yeah, I'll never forget that. That was an interesting moment there.
Oh yeah.
All right, moving on to let's see. These are our last bit of news actually. For the rest, this was a little bit more serious, and I think we'll probably have a lot to say about this because we all like to emulate, and Nintendo has seemed to be going after people who might emulate games from now on. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. This was according to something that Central Leaks, who they usually do the Pokemon leaks, and I don't like quoting them as much because they could be hit and miss in terms of what they're saying is like a leak that's legit. But this is something that seems a lot of people are saying that Nintendo is actually doing. They are going after somebody who said that they basically don't care what Nintendo says and they're streaming their games and emulating them. And in this case, Nintendo has like a whole thing of the lawsuit that they're doing to this person and what they're going after. And one of the things they have wrote down was that if somebody is streaming the game and it's emulator, if they're just emulating the game, they will have the rights to go ahead and go after them. What started this all is that person who's a streamer, which I don't remember their name, is apparently was streaming games before they were released. So like Echoes of Wisdom was the last one they were doing, and they were streaming it live before the game was even out. So they definitely pirated the game and they started emulating it. Which to be fair, like yeah, go after the dude because he's breaking street date, he's pirating the game. That makes sense. But in this sense, they want to go after anybody who does that now, and I'm not a fan of doing that because we've talked plenty of times about how games are no longer available. Like I was just streaming Mega Man and Bass or Rockman and Forte because it was a Super Famicom version. That game's no longer available. You cannot get that game. You can't buy that game. There's no way for you to go ahead and legally buy that game right now. So if you want to play it, you have to download the ROM and play it that way. That is literally the only way, unless you go ahead and find a cartridge and try to rip it. And I'm not a fan with Nintendo doing that. Like, honestly, Nintendo has been attacking emulation, I think, in the wrong way. I get it. They're probably very upset because people are taking their Switch games. And we all know backwards compatibility is probably one of the biggest factors for that. But it's still not right to go to the general public about emulation in general because emulation is still good. It's a way we play older games. How else are we going to play Soul Calibur 2 with Link in it? Because they never did that collab. When Soul Calibur 2 came back in HD for 360 and PS3, you had the chance to play as both Spawn and Heihachi, but you couldn't do Link because I guess Nintendo didn't want to be in there at all. So, what do you guys think about this?
Well, for starters, for that particular case, I mean, Nintendo was definitely in the right to, pretty much screw up this guy's life because he was emulating the Nintendo so many Nintendo Switch games before Street Date. So that's already illegal as it is. And
yeah, I mean, he obtained a game illegally.
yeah, and because of his dumbassery, that pretty much painted a bad light into the emulation scene. So I'm not gonna be going into this podcast and not mentioning that in the first, like, straight up, the dude himself, he pretty much screwed us for the most part when it came to that, right? So when Nintendo did their thing, we can't really, cry about it because he actually did something illegal in the first place.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, right, is it will definitely be a slippery slope from here on out because because when it comes to streaming games that are emulated, you just got to be more careful about that from now on and stuff, and don't make it too obvious. Like, for example, when you're emulating the game, make sure you don't have it in a freaking window where it's showing like extra information like the FPS, actual minimizing, closing windows. Just don't do that. That's stupid. Like, don't make it too obvious to the point where they're like, oh, this game is running normal better than usual. I wonder what's going on here, right? Like another bad example is where you're streaming a emulated title and you put down the title that you're streaming this game at 4K 120 FPS. Obviously the Switch can't freaking do that. So you just got to be a bit more underhanded. Don't make things too obvious if you still want to keep it emulating Switch games and stuff. I mean, specifically Switch. I feel like Nintendo doesn't really care about games.
Don't even emulate Switch.
What's wrong with emulating Switch?
I'm like, don't stream a game if you're going to emulate a Switch.
Oh, yeah,
you're just asking for trouble.
Well, yeah. Don't stream a Switch game, but like I said, you could definitely make it look like
you can stream a Switch game. Just don't play it on an emulator.
Yeah. So
like on stream.
Yeah, I mean, my take was always that like the Switch is a modern platform, right? The platform is readily available. You can buy a Switch. You can buy the games. Buy a Switch and play the games if you want to play it on there. It's not going to run that great. I get it. But I mean, I would say do it that way, especially now because Nintendo does not want you emulating a game whatsoever. They don't care if you own the game.
They don't care if it's an old game or a new game, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, we had the thing with Retro Game Core and, emulating Wind Waker HD, which maybe because they're going to do a surprise announcement and announce Wind Waker HD finally for Nintendo Switch. Like, who knows?
Another big thing you have to... Yeah, another big thing you have to look at as well is not just Switch games. We're actually going back to older emulators, and we have to worry about those now because one of the biggest things that we're pointing out is that they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it aware that it's illegal for you to even back up your own Switch game because you're still using cryptographic keys to actually dump those actual games onto a device and stuff. Yeah. Which is the same. That's the same thing that goes for older titles like PS2, PS1. I think Dreamcast emulators do the same thing for this as well and stuff. And don't get me started on the fact that you need to get a BIOS file from your own console in order for you to run some of these emulators too. And Nintendo's trying to make that illegal as well. So it's not just a Switch thing. I know a lot of people don't really care too much for Switch emulation because it's the current hardware now.
Yeah.
But now they're sort of planting the seed that, hey, this is a way for us to get rid of majority of the emulators, since they still rely off of like certain proprietary files that came from those hardware themselves, which that's also really concerning too.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I don't know. It's kind of a scary future when you think about it that way, especially with emulation. Fan, what's your take on everything?
It's a big gray area with that. I mean, the way Nintendo Switch Online works is it's running on emulation too. So like that's where it's kind of one of those gray areas where like if the game isn't available anymore, there should be some leeway. Like if the developer and the publisher can't make any money on the game anymore whatsoever, then it should be part of like the protection for like digital data, right? Where like you should be able to get it because no one's making money on it. It's not really hurting anybody unless someone buys the rights to that game, and then they're gonna start streaming it and making it available to where people can get it, and then they start, trying to make a way of making money again. Like Nintendo now having Genesis like on their Nintendo Switch Online, you know. That's where there's gonna maybe that's why Nintendo's cracking down because there's a lot of games in their library that they're gonna start adding, and that's how they're making their money back.
they should have those now. Honestly, I mean,
I know, but like,
listen,
their library is huge, and they're only going to do small things at a time because they've got too much going on. They're not going to commit everything to Nintendo Switch Online. That's why I think that's why the releases are so slow. Is that they probably only have one team, running the service, making sure that the game that they're going to have running on it runs okay. It's not perfect. We know it's not perfect. Like Ocarina of Time, like when it first got announced on Switch Online, was just horrible.
Which
but
that still shocked me. That still shocked me. They fixed it, but it shocked me.
Yeah,
a lot. So,
and that's one of the things where I'm like wondering, like when they're cracking down, like is it because these games that are no longer available going to be coming back, and they're just like, getting ahead of it.
Yeah, I feel that.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, they should like let us know ahead of time, honestly, right? Just so they can, like,
Nintendo
so we
doesn't
don't
let anybody know anything.
They need to start to. Just because they don't, that doesn't mean they shouldn't. Like, they need to,
That's like letting another company. That's like letting a rival company have a peek at your books and like know what your game plan is.
I mean, yeah, Nintendo's been good at that. They're very good at keeping things hush until the last second. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles X, people never thought that was going to happen, and randomly last week just got posted and showed off. So they're really good at that. And I'm in the fence where like when they started going after like Ryujinx and why can't I think of the other one? Yuzu, there we go. When they started going after Ryujinx and Yuzu, I'm like, well, I think they're doing it because of backwards compatibility. I mean, they officially confirmed it now, but then like now you wonder, okay, going after Russ and him showing Wind Waker HD, is it because it's Wind Waker HD or is it because it's Russ? And I think it's because it's Wind Waker HD, and they probably are gonna bring it to Switch. And this is another way to show people, don't emulate it. We want you to buy it on the new Switch, because they fear that more people would just emulate it if they can play it on, a PC or an Android device or like a Retro Pocket or anything like that, and still play it at higher frame rates or better quality and stuff like that, rather than go ahead and play it on a Switch 2 where you can probably get 4K 60 on it. Because on PC, you can play Wind Waker at 4K 60 and it looks great. And there's also like different shaders you can enable and stuff like that. But on the Switch, well, it's not even available on the Switch. But like on Switch 2, you might be maybe more limited, maybe not. I don't know. But I kind of think that's why they're going that route. It's weird. Emulation, like you said, is a great area. Some people don't like it at all. Some people just love pirating games, and they think there's their right to pirate games, which I don't believe in. While others, are kind of, I think all three of us are in the camp where if the game is just not legally available, it's the only way to enjoy this game. Because I like to enjoy older games from time to time. Turtles in Time. How are you going to play that? the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, there was an HD remake that Ubisoft did, and that one wasn't that great. There was missing levels and a bunch of other stuff, and there's a lot of issues with that one. And it's you're missing out on a lot of things. A lot of times we get remakes and HD port or not HD ports, but just remakes in general, and they cut out content. Look at the difference between Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 3 remake. A lot was cut
don't
out.
give me star on that.
Resident Evil 2 remake, a lot. Well, not a lot, but not as much as Resident Evil 3, but there was still quite a bit that was cut out from that. So you do lose stuff from remakes, which it seems like Metal Gear Solid 3 might be one of the very few games that you won't lose anything because it's a one-on-one actual remake. Final Fantasy 7 Remake's a good example too. It's technically not a remake. So if you play Final Fantasy 7, you're missing out on a lot of things that the original Final Fantasy 7 had because just, the order events are just totally different.
Oh yeah.
But I guess we'll have to see how this goes. I honestly hope that somehow Nintendo just stops. I doubt it because I feel that they're one of those things that they see they're able to do it. They're going to continue going. They're going to see how far they can go until eventually they stop everything, which kind of sucks. And a lot of people like to emulate Nintendo games, but it's not because it's Nintendo games. Well, I think part of it is. The other reason is because those games are just not readily available. I have Nintendo Switch Online. I'm happy, paying for that service and playing those games. But at the same time, I also do have like Donkey Kong Country on my Retro Pocket Mini if I want to go ahead and play that as well. I'm happy with Super Mario RPG on Nintendo Switch, but I also have the SNES version available if I want to play that as well. So that's just
like I have ROMs of the Mega Man Battle Network, but since they have the collection out on Switch, like I haven't loaded that up like forever, and I've been debating I'm waiting for it to go on sale so I can just buy it.
Yeah, I got that on PC, and all of those ROMs are in my archive. Typically, if a game's announced, I archive those ROMs. I still keep them, but I usually archive them and don't put them on any of my platforms unless I feel like, oh, I'm definitely gonna play this game, and I want to carry this around. And a lot of that has to do, of course, because a lot of these games are also becoming available on PC, so it's easier to have these games on there.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, literally, all they really need to do is just maintain the original game and just don't try to fix what was even broken. A good example of that is Tales of Symphonia because it originally came out on the GameCube. To me, that was the best version of the game because everything ran smoothly. The game ran perfectly fine. But now we got the technically the PS3 version of the game that always ran at 30 FPS that doesn't run as well as the GameCube version, and now we're kind of stuck with that as a legal purchase, unfortunately. So the only way for you to enjoy the best Tales of Symphonia experience is to emulate the GameCube version simply.
Yeah, so that's another great point there.
Oh man, I was just talking about Mega Man Battle Network Collection, and it is 50% off on Steam right now. Shoot.
There you go. There you go.
Do I want to buy it on Steam or do I want to buy physical on Switch?
It's good question.
They have
I bought
a physical
it
on Switch?
They did. I don't know if it's still being printed, but they did. QVC has those coupons still, so you can always check QVC.
I'm gonna have to go to Play Asia and see if.
No. Did you check on Best Buy or anything like that?
I'm going to.
Yeah.
But sometimes on Play Asia, you can get those the different artwork on the covers, art covers.
Yeah. Just print it out. Just print out a different artwork and put it in. There you go. Oh man. But I think that's pretty much everything we have to talk about today. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up at all?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, there was other news about Sony just responding to the whole backlash of PSN account linking for Steam for the PC ports of those games and stuff. I forgot what the response was, but it was pretty much something where they're still trying to go through with putting PSN account linking on every single game, including single player only titles too, which to me that literally makes no sense to me on why you should force a consumer trying to link their account for a game that does not really require any online service whatsoever. Ever.
They still want to collect data on you. That's easy. That's easy.
No reason, no freaking reason, unless if you're putting a PSN PlayStation exclusive multiplayer game onto Steam, that's where it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's where it makes perfect sense. And they were supposed to do something like that for what's that game? What's that game called? Helldivers 2. It was originally was supposed to be a PlayStation only game, but I guess actually I think it was originally supposed to be PC, and I think Sony bought that developer studio, and that's when they were like still making it for PC, but they're also making it for a PlayStation, but like Sony just bought the entire budget for that. So I'm just like, so they're just like, oh, okay, so it's going to be mainly for PlayStation. And at the beginning, they weren't enforcing it until later on they're trying to enforce it. And with that, it caused a whole bunch of problems because PSN doesn't work for every country. So you could be a person that is not within that region, and once they enforce that, you no longer have access to that game, which is freaking ridiculous. And when that happened, the whole tons of refunds happened, and I'm pretty sure they backed off of that whole account linking thing ever since, because they knew that was a stupid idea to begin with to do that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just they need to really chill on that stuff, especially on single player games. And if anything, they should only use it if you have to play multiplayer on it. Good example is Ghost of Tsushima. I know they have a multiplayer aspect of the game as well, but that's like a totally separate mode. And if you want to play that, that's when you do the account linking. Do the account linking for multiplayer, or the account linking if you want to get trophies onto your profile or something like that. Give them options. Don't force your consumers to do something that they don't want to do. It's bad freaking practice. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think like Sony doesn't realize that on their console they can get away with that. They can get away with like PlayStation Network being a requirement because it's their platform, right? They can do that. But when you go to somebody else's platform, you don't really have the same like leeway to do whatever you want to do over there. And PC users in particular, if they're playing on PC, it's because they're tired of account linking. I mean, just think of all the different launchers that everybody hates. Like me personally, I'm very in the camp that if it's not on Steam, I'm probably not buying it. When Final Fantasy VII first remake first came out, it was Epic Game Store first, and then eventually came to Steam. And guess what? I didn't buy it. I waited till it came out on Steam, and then I went and purchased it. Stranger of Paradise was the same thing. It was Epic Game Store exclusive for quite a bit. Then it finally came available on Steam. Sonic Colors was Epic Game Store exclusive, and then the minute it came to Steam, everybody went and picked it up on there. So it's like, people were not picking up these games because they were Epic Game Store. They wanted to wait for it to be on Steam. And me personally, I'm the same way. I'll wait for it to go on Steam. I don't want it to be on a different platform. A lot of Ubisoft games. Well, I admit I did pay for a lot of Ubisoft games. Like I have Splinter Cell Blacklist, a lot of Assassin's Creed games through Ubisoft Connect, but I kind of hate like their app. And games nowadays like Prince of Persia, like Lost Crown and stuff like that, I didn't pick up because they weren't available on Steam, which now they are. Now they are available on Steam, so I would definitely go ahead and pick them up. But
another one we should look into is probably GOG.com.
Yeah, GOG is pretty good.
Mainly because they're probably like the only platform that actually gives you the full right to your digital copy of the game. Because when you download it, you actually get the actual exe you actually get the folder along with the exe without any DRM whatsoever as well. So it's not a lease. It's more like, hey, you bought this. Here's all the files to it. Do whatever the hell you want with it, right? So I think that's another possible launcher or storefront that we should also look into as well, if anything.
Yeah, it's one I haven't really messed with. I'm about to start building my library because Prime Gaming, they have a few games available, and it looks like they're all only available through GOG. Like I think Death Stranding Director's Cut is on there. Some other games, so I'm gonna look into that because I do want to get to Death Stranding. I definitely want to play it.
Same here.
So many people have told me it is a good game. So I have to play it eventually. I just don't know when.
It's more from what I get from people. It's an acquired taste. That's pretty much what it is for that particular game.
Yeah,
it's either you don't like it or you like it.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. So.
I played it a little bit like on PS5. In the beginning, it was interesting, but I felt like I don't think it was gonna be my cup of tea. It just I don't know. There's just something about it, and I don't like the idea of having. I've talked about this plenty of times. I hate inventory limits. I hate weight inventory limits. Outside of like Elden Ring, like I don't know, Elden Ring doesn't bother me as much because it's only when you equip it that like it weighs you down. You can have as many things in your inventory, and it doesn't mess with it. But in this game, like literally the main thing is you're carrying packages, so you have weight limits, and that just annoys me. Witcher 3, I could not beat that game because my inventory would fill up. I'm like, oh man, here we go again. I gotta play around with the inventory, make
man.
space and stuff like that.
Legend
So.
of Dragoon had inventory limits, not weight limits, but
It did
you
have
could only
inventory
have
limits,
you
yeah.
could you could only have like 30 like health potions, like that was the max.
Yeah.
Like, or 30. Yeah. That sucked.
Yeah. I mean, those limits are not bad because you could only have a maximum amount of numbers, and that, that was it. Or you could have a certain amount. Yeah, that was it. Where here's like you got these weight limits. I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. Like Death Stranding is literally if you're a certain weight, that's it. You're not doing anything. You gotta leave something behind and all that. And I don't know. That just bothered me. That and I don't think there's a lot of action in it so far. It's not like Metal Gear Solid. And I was just expecting Death Stranding to just be more Metal Gear Solid, which is not. It's not.
I mean, you will certainly hate any Fallout game or any or any Elder
Bethesda
Scrolls
game?
game because
I know.
yeah,
I don't
because
like Bethesda games.
yeah, because straight up, if you don't manage your inventory correctly, you'll be overcumbered really quickly in that game.
Yep.
I can tell you that much.
And that's why I don't play Bethesda games. I tried playing Bethesda again to Skyrim, and I just couldn't, unfortunately. Surprisingly, Dragon's Dogma also has weight limits, like inventory weight limits. And that doesn't bother me actually that much. To an extent, it does a little bit, but I think the combat's fun enough that I can kind of ignore that. That's one of the few games that I can ignore it in, and that's because the combat's fun, not because of anything else. But yeah, eventually I'll get to Death Stranding. Hopefully soon, before Death Stranding 2 comes out.
So I'm trying to get through my games. I mean, I
Yeah,
just
we'll say
started
the
Brothership. So
advantage of Epic is free games every once in a while.
Yeah, Epic.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I wound up getting close to Protocol several months ago for free off of Epic Games.
I think I got it too. I think so.
Yeah, I got Cursed Golf for free.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I did get that too. Yeah, actually, I do have that. There's some games that I missed out on.
And since you now have an ROG Ally X, you can download launchers.
Yes, that's true. I did download Epic Games, and that was where I was going to download Death Stranding. But now that it's available on GOG, I might just redeem it on GOG and then try it out on there instead, just so I have something from GOG. One game I did forget to mention. I knew there was another game I was playing. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. Never played the Twin Snakes version of Metal Gear Solid 1. And I was playing it. Pretty good.
GameCube version is the best.
I just don't like the soundtrack. The PS1 soundtrack is way better. The Encounter theme is just not great. Encounter theme in Metal Gear Solid 1 is amazing. The top tier soundtrack. But yeah, it's basically Twin Snakes. If you've never played Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, it's just Metal Gear Solid 2's engine, like all the mechanics of Metal Gear Solid 2, just put into Metal Gear Solid 1. So it makes it a little bit more playable, I would say. Where I think the OG MGS1 is just not as playable because it's very clunky, very tanky. Where this is not as much. Like you have the first person view, where this one you don't have first person view really. You can shoot in first person. You couldn't do that in the original MGS one. So yeah, I mean I'm enjoying it so far. I like it. I mean, Metal Gear Solid games are just great. It kind of sucks that Kojima can't make them anymore, but they were definitely a work of art. And I honestly think we will never ever get a new Metal Gear Solid game. That's just it. Like Konami, I'm sure they know themselves they can't create a new Metal Gear Solid game. It's just too good. And it's sad that Metal Gear Solid 5 was unfinished. All right. Anything else that you guys want to discuss today before we wrap up this podcast?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm all out of topics, I guess. So
Sounds good. Then we'll go ahead and end the podcast today. Like I mentioned, it wasn't that much news happening this week. I mean, the biggest news here in the U.S. was really just the election. Everything was about the election, so a lot of news just didn't make the cut here. But next week we'll hear from Brian and what he has to say on the PS5 Pro. Pretty sure he's probably gonna like it. It seems a lot of people that do have the PS5 Pro are enjoying it. I do want to hear his take because he seemed very excited for the PS5 Pro. So I kind of wonder about that. I think all of us here we're just kind of like, me and Fan. I think we're good with our PS5. I barely touch my PS5, so it's kind of like no reason for me to get a Pro. And then Ash, he still has his PS4. He doesn't even have a PS5, so I don't think he's
Yeah.
he's gonna even look at the PS5 Pro. So I mean, honestly, that's just where we're at here. So we'll have to wait for Brian's take next week, and hopefully we have more news next week. Like I mentioned earlier, I will be having my Retroid Pocket Mini video up this week, discussing my thoughts on the Retroid Pocket Mini, and then hopefully, I'm hoping sometime soon the Iron Neo Pocket does come in. I'm honestly on the fence now. I'm thinking of just refunding it because I ordered it in August. It was supposed to ship early September, did not ship at all. They started shipping units towards the end of September, and then they basically haven't shipped any. Like through October, they shipped units, but they're not. They're shipping like 5 at a time.
This is your micro you're talking about?
Yeah, the Ioneo Micro. Yeah, Ioneo Pocket Micro rather, and that's kind of like taking me off. Like I really wanted this unit, but now I'm just thinking maybe I just refund it and get like a iNode in Portal or something like that. Maybe I'll just pick up one of those. I don't know. I have to really debate on it and see. I was gonna give it till the end of this week, and if it doesn't ship, then I'll go ahead because they did say more orders going to ship in mid-November, and I mean technically this week is kind of mid-November. I want to say by the end of this week it'll be mid-November. So hopefully he ships. If it doesn't ship this week, then I'm definitely gonna refund it, and unfortunately I won't be doing a review on that. And I'll look forward to getting an Iron Odin Portal possibly because I think that comes out sometime this month. I just think it's kind of weird that I got the Retroid Pocket. Retroid Pocket, they announced their Retroid Pocket way later than the Ioneo Pocket Micro, which was out a lot longer. At least their campaign, and they shipped it just way quicker than that. And yeah, that I don't know. It gives me the wrong way, and at that point, it just makes me not want to buy any Ioneo product at all. It just takes forever, and I don't know, not a fan of that. It bothers me. You know, I'm sure like a lot of content creators don't care because they get a review unit, so they get it early no matter what. Somebody like me that I'm trying to make content on it, trying to do that, and have to wait like 2 months till it's gone. It just kind of bothers me. And as a consumer, I just think too, it's like, all right, I'm waiting for this thing. I kind of want this thing. When am I gonna get it? So we'll see what I do with that. But as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And also follow on Twitch if you are available or if you are watching on Twitch. Go ahead and follow. If you're not watching on Twitch and you're watching on YouTube and you have a Twitch channel, feel free to go ahead and follow on Twitch. And also, if you have a Prime subscription, feel free to use that as well. It does help out the channel. Helps me get all these devices because everything I get is out of pocket. So it's not like I'm being, getting demo units or anything like that. Everything's out of pocket. It does help out quite a lot. Thank you, Fan. Thank you, Ash. Actually, Fan, where can I catch you at?
Yeah, you can catch me at Phaneckswhy on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.
What about you, Ash?
You can catch me on at the Ash Destroy on my YouTube. Still haven't uploaded a video yet. It's been almost 2 years by now, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And as always, you can catch me right here at the Random Encounter. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time.